Writers add details and they revise and edit. The learning intention for the lesson. Writers revise their drafts by adding details because they want the reader to picture what they are writing about. The success criteria. I will reread my story and revise it by adding details so my reader can picture what happened in their mind. Today I'm going to teach you that writers revise their drafts by adding details because they want the reader to picture what they are writing about. The more the right reader can picture, the better they understand the story. So, in the writing process, there are five main steps. We have pre writing, which we did when we came up with ideas, drafting, when you write your first draft, revising, and that is where we are, where you work to make your writing better. So, we are adding more details and making our story clearer for our reader. One way writers revise is by adding details. I am going to reread my story and see if there are any places that I add more details so my reader can picture my story in their mind. I am going to read my story out loud so that I can really hear what's going on. So when you reread your story, read it out loud to yourself. Have you ever been to a surprise party? I have. They are a lot of fun. My mom woke me up early to get dressed. I put on my favorite shirt that was covered in gold sparkles. We got in the car and drove to my grandma's house. The ride was very bumpy. When we opened the door at grandma's house, my family yelled, "Surprise!" Inside my grandma's house was a party with all of my cousins. That really covers most of it, but I notice that I go like this car ride. I remember it was very bumpy, but I didn't really care. I was very happy to go to my grandma's house. We don't visit her very often. Maybe I'll add details right there. And I noticed I don't really tell you what the party looked like. I remember balloons and cake. Um, and so I'll add more details right here as well. So here, I've added some details. You notice that I have an arrow pointing to some details that I added. And then luckily this was at the end, so I added details at the end. And then I would reread my story. I'm going to start right here from the car. So we got in the car and drove to my grandma's house. The ride was very bumpy, and then I have an arrow, so I go over here. But I didn't care. I was excited to see my grandma. When we opened the door at grandma's house, my family yelled, "Surprise!" Inside my grandma's house was a party with all of my cousins. There were pink balloons and chocolate cake. I was so happy. So you notice with my details that I added in your brain, you can see what happened a lot better. In independent writing, you are going to reread your stories and revise by adding details so your reader can picture what happened in their mind. Upload a picture or tell the details that you added to your paper in the